Coming to you from the Lydia Media Studios in the heart of Lewiston, Auburn, it's Lydia's Lunch Bunch, LA's afternoon morning show with Mark, Sarah, and Pam. We're covering news and events in the greater LA area and talking to the people making a difference in our community. Feel free to share your comments, questions, or suggestions via email at podcast@lydiamediallc.com.
And today's show is brought to you by United Piping, serving residential and commercial customers with new installations and repairs. Call today and schedule your oil and gas boiler cleanings at 754-4556. UPI, the best plumbers around. And also brought to you by Ruper's Beverage and Redemption. When it comes to beer, wine, and spirits, don't botch it, squatch it. At 5 locations in Lewiston, Auburn, and Oxford. Learn more at rupersbeverage.com. And remember, the party starts at Ruper's.
We have the pleasure of being joined in studio today by Mr. Drew of Mr. Drew and His Animals Too. How are you today?
Good. How are you? Hold on a second here. Hold on.
Do you got a frog in your throat?
I didn't bring one with me, but apparently I did. So there it was. That morning, I don't know what that was. But anyhow.
The first time you talked today?
Well, I talk to myself all the time.
We are going to talk to Mr. Drew all about his animals and a whole lot more coming up here in just a bit. But before we get there, let's take a look at some headlines for Monday, April 28th.
The St. Dom's High School Board of Directors is asking to purchase the building from the Roman Catholic Diocese of Portland for $4.9 million. The diocese has until Wednesday to respond. The board is also asking to separate from the diocese and operate as an independent Catholic school. A town hall meeting will be held tonight at 6:30 at the Royal Oak Room in Lewiston.
According to analysis by the Maine Monitor, the average retail price for electricity in Maine increased by the third highest rate in the country, surpassed only by California and Massachusetts. Over the last 10 years, the average retail price of electricity in Maine rose from 12.65 cents per kilowatt hour to 19.62 cents, an increase of 55%.
The new Lewiston Police Department headquarters at 141 Mill Street is now open to the public. The former location at 171 Park Street was closed as of 8 a.m. this morning. As they complete the transition, if you need to contact LPD today before noon, call 911 to request LPD service or go to the new public entrance on Mill Street.
And the city of Auburn is mourning the recent passing of longtime employee June Thompson, who served the city for 50 years. June served as the administrative assistant in the city manager's office for the majority of her career. Auburn is asking those who knew June to share memories on the city's Facebook page.
Is it time for the weather?
Is it time for the weather?
Rain or shine, it's all okay. Grab your uke and start the day. Clouds may come or skies turn blue. Weather's fun with me and you. The sun is bright and storms may brew. Every day's a brand new view. You don't need perfect skies above. Hey, just a song and a little love.
I like how the weather song is longer than our forecast.
Yeah.
But well worth it.
See? Pretty good, right, Drew?
It goes through
I love
every chance of weather we could possibly have.
Yep.
But today, blue
Today.
skies and sunshine with a high of 70 and a low of 42. Partly sunny tomorrow with a high of 74 and a low of 44. Sunny on Wednesday with highs in the mid-60s.
In sports, whoop, whoop. The Maine Nordiques swept the Maryland Black Bears out of the Colisee. Bye-bye. Winning Friday. Winning Friday 3-0 and Saturday 5-2. The Nords won the series 3-1 and exacted revenge on the team that ended their playoff hopes last year. Maine will face the Rochester Junior Americans. Maine will face the stinking Rochester Junior Americans or the stinking Johnstown Tomahawks in the East Division Finals. The best-of-5 series begins this weekend.
So, just a footnote on that. If Rochester wins today, games 1 and 2 will be in New York. Oof. However, if Johnstown wins, games 1 and 2 will be at the Colisee.
Where do we want them to be?
You know, it's tough because Rochester was the best team in the division all year long, but the Nordiques had a tougher time playing Johnstown.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Isn't it weird how,
it is weird.
how that happens?
Jason Tatum scored 37 points and grabbed 14 rebounds as the Celtics beat the Orlando Magic 107-98. Boston leads the best-of-7 series 3-1. Game 5 is tomorrow night in Boston.
And Cedar Rafaela drove in 5 runs to lead the Red Sox over the Cleveland Guardians 13-3. Ouch. The Sox are off today and will visit the Toronto Blue Jays tomorrow night.
Bates College Baseball will host Colby this afternoon at 3.
And the Patriots selected 6'6", 319-pound LSU offensive tackle Will Campbell with their 4th overall pick in the NFL draft. They also selected Ohio State running back Trayvon Henderson in the 2nd round.
That is your news, weather, and sports. And right now it is time for the podcast segment that is Sweeping the Twin Cities. It's time for famous people birthdays.
They're famous. It's their birthdays. It's famous people birthdays. It's famous people birthdays.
A little light this morning, isn't it?
A little bit. Let's take a look at FPBs for April the 28th, shall we?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I need confirmation.
Yeah.
Because if you guys didn't say anything, I just move on to the next segment.
Sure.
We're going to start off with Jessica Alba, who is 44 years old today. Do we all remember her as Invisible Girl in the Fantastic Four?
Is that what she was?
I don't really remember that movie.
Okay.
I remember the movie. I thought she
All right.
didn't she have like the rubber arms and stuff?
That was Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was her husband. And
Yeah.
Gotcha.
You remember, right?
well, yeah, Invisible Girl. I just don't remember if it was her.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
it was her.
there was like several versions
Right,
of the Fantastic
yes.
Four, and,
That's
and
true.
none of them were consistent. So,
She made 2. She made the Fantastic Four in 2005
and the Silver Surfer.
and the Silver Surfer in 2007. She was also in Sin City,
Yeah.
which is visually stunning. If you've never seen that
it
movie,
is
check it
cool.
out.
She was Sue Storm in the.
That's
Fantastic
right.
Four.
Sue Storm,
That's
who's also
the Invisible Girl.
Invisible Girl.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Which she's really not a girl.
Right.
She's a woman.
True.
I mean, I don't know why they would
Yes.
just demote her to,
Girl.
like, makes her sound like she'd be 12.
She was also in one of your favorite movies, Mark.
What's that?
Machete Kills.
Machete. Yes. Machete, don't text.
I love that movie.
Oh, boy. All right. Tonight Show former Tonight Show host Jay Leno is 75 years old today.
Oh, wow. 75, huh?
He's had a heck of a career.
He sure has.
Started in stand-up back in the 70s, over to the Comedy Store.
Over to the Comedy Store.
Yeah, with David Letterman and that whole crew.
Yikes.
And finally, actor and singer Anne Margaret is 84 years old today.
Wow.
Sarah, I was hoping that you would know who Anne Margaret is.
I do. I do.
He's like, I was hoping.
I do know.
Like, I recognize that name, but
Yeah.
That's about it.
She was in, if like you're my age, you probably remember her better from the Grumpy Old Men movies.
Oh,
She's
yes.
the beautiful redhead who's not Sophia Loren. I think she was in a relationship with Jack. Is it Jack Lemmon? I don't remember.
One of them. Yeah.
See, if you're my age, you remember Anne Margaret was on the Flintstones.
Oh.
Yeah. Yep. It was Anne Margaret.
Oh.
And she was on the Flintstones way, so that goes into the 60s.
they were so good with that stuff. That
yeah.
show was brilliant.
Yeah.
Anne has won 5 Golden Globe Awards and an Emmy, and has been nominated for 2 Grammys.
Wow.
There you go.
So she does have a nice voice.
She does, and there's
See?
proof positive that she has a nice voice. Those are your FPBs. Now for some OTDs. On this day, 22 years ago in 2003, Apple launched iTunes for Windows. So they could see how the other half lives. Right? Yeah. 37 years ago on this day in 1988, the Baltimore Orioles set an American League record by opening the season with 21 straight losses.
Oh, wow.
Ouch.
Yikes.
You dig yourself out of that.
No, you don't. Yeah, they finished the season 54 and 107.
You know what I remember is that the Orioles were my dad's team during that time.
Oh, boy.
Really?
That was a rough year.
Yeah.
Rooting the underdog.
Yeah, I remember watching games with him and being like, "Why are we watching?
Oh, what is this?
Seems so sad."
This is,
Terrible.
I'm going to cry.
It was like 86, 87. I remember it being like, yeah.
58 years ago on this day in 1967, Muhammad Ali was stripped of his WBC and WA titles when he refused to be inducted into the U.S. Army. The WBC title was filled by Joe Frazier. You remember Joe?
I remember Joe.
Yeah, they had some good battles. And finally, 62 years ago on this day in 1963, 19-year-old Andrew Oldham saw the Rolling Stones' first performance at the Crawdaddy Club in London. He signed on to be their manager the next day. At 19 years
19.
old, managing the Rolling Stones.
Pretty smart.
There you go, yeah.
It's like, these guys have got something.
Dude had some foresight.
Yeah, I was just going to say, saw that. He just-
I was like, that's special.
This is where I'm going. The coattails to ride are here.
This is my meal ticket. All right.
Yep.
Those are your FPBs and OTDs for April the 28th.
Whether you want a sit-down meal or a grab-and-go, Pat's Pizza in Auburn offers delicious sandwiches, pasta, salads, and pizza at family-friendly prices. Pat's Pizza, serving the L.A. area since 1985. Open daily from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. at 85 Center Street in Auburn. Online at patsauburn.com.
Now we shift focus fully to our guest in studio, Mr. Drew of Mr. Drew and His Animals 2. And for folks who may be living under a rock who you haven't found yet,
Well, I was going to say, if they're under a rock,
Yeah.
they
Then you have
probably,
found them.
I probably got them
you
someplace.
probably said, hey, what's up?
I know you.
Drew, can you just tell the folks what you do?
What do I do?
What do you do?
Yeah.
What is it that you do?
It's
What's your deal?
it's kind of weird, really. I mean, yeah, basically, I take in what the Humane Society won't. So if it's cute and fluffy, we don't do it. We take in all kinds of animals. Creepy, crawly, scary, the unloved stuff. We take in things that people don't understand. And, I go around the entire state of Maine and New England talking about these animals, explaining, one, there's no such thing as a bad animal. You might not like it for some reason. That doesn't make it bad. I don't like mosquitoes. But mosquitoes do serve a purpose, just not for me.
What purpose do they serve?
They are a food source, and in some cases, they're the only food source for certain animals.
Okay.
I don't like mosquitoes because I'm the food source, and I
Right.
don't appreciate that. And then, we help people with fears and phobias and things like that. So we have over 400 animals at pretty much any given time. We share those and try to show the positive light and the purpose of those animals. Mm-hmm. And again, one of the things I also do is work with the state of Maine. We take them in. I act as a consultant for the game wardens and help make some of the laws regarding these animals on occasion. They'll consult with me. And so we, take them in because I'm a firm believer that Maine woods, Maine waters belong to Maine animals.
Yeah.
And the animals I'm taking in are exotic. They don't belong outside. It's not fair to them, and it's not fair to our wildlife. So, kind of a nutshell.
Right.
Me. Or nut job.
Stop.
Anyhow.
So let's get right to it, Mr. Drew. A couple of weeks ago, you posted a video on social media that has since received 2,500 reactions, 647 comments, and 1,500 shares. It is a video about you having to move out of your current location at the Lewiston Mall.
Correct. On April 1st, there has been a lot of changes going on in the mall, and the axe throwing place, Split and Wood, and the nail salon, they've been there before me. They were being moved to the other side so that O'Reilly's Auto Parts can come, and they were taking up the whole place from where we were at to where Sears used to be.
Mm-hmm.
And so they were filling in that whole space, which was fine. And, so it wasn't affecting us. So they kind of kept us out of the loop. And so there was an empty space. Used to be, I think it was Dave's Jewelers or Zales. Well, anyhow, there was a jewelry store next to us that used to be there eons ago. And it's been empty. And so we were like, hey, we could, expand, because we brought in 50,000 people our first year there. Wow. And we were like, yeah, we can expand and move our retail out, expand our education. And so we were all gung-ho planning this all out. And April 1st, we as changes were going, it's like, hey, okay, this is really going to start affecting us because our customers are coming in and you guys are doing construction and, so what's going on? And they're like, yeah, we'll talk on the 30th. Of March, and my daughter we had to go to the hospital, so we kind of had to reschedule. So could we talk tomorrow? And they said, oh yeah, no problem. And April 1st comes and we are talking with them, and we're like I said, we're excited. That morning, I'm like, okay, we're really gonna put this on, and first thing was, how's your daughter doing? Was, oh, good, thank you. Thank you for asking. And he's like, I'm in a car wash right now, so forgive me if we cut out or anything. I said, okay. And so we were doing this all over the phone, speaker, my wife and I. And so he says, okay, and so we just get started, we're not renewing your lease. And so we were waiting for April Fools.
Right.
We're sitting there like, oh, okay. My wife and I are looking at each other. And there was silence. And it's like, could you say that again? And he said, we're not renewing your lease. You do not fit in our business model. And it's like, but we brought 50,000 people to the mall. And they were like, doesn't matter. They're in Ohio, the people who own that mall. That mall is owned by two different entities. The Jump Park, C40, and where Sliders used to be is one owner, and then the rest is another owner. They're in Ohio. And we noticed when they were doing the construction, they kind of built the wall. We thought O'Reilly's was coming right up to our wall. But there was like a wall that was probably like 9 feet over. So it was like a long, narrow passage. And it's like, that's really weird because you can't rent that out. Maybe they're going to use that for storage. The whole time we're like, well, maybe that's all it is. Maybe they're going to have a storage area, workshop, in case something for maintenance. And but then it's like, oh, that's going to be the wall. They're going to gut us out, and the space that we are looking at taking that goes to Bull Moose, and that's going to become one big retail space. And they basically said, we can get $15 to $20 a square foot from a major company, and you're a nonprofit, and you're not going to pay that. So we want something else in here, and that was it. And it didn't matter what we said or did. And, 50,000 people mean nothing to them because it's not money they're getting.
Right.
If it would have been different if it was a local owner, because then it's business in the mall.
Business, yeah.
So we waited 2 weeks. We contacted City of Lewiston right away, talked to Nate Libby and stuff, and he also suggested waiting 2 weeks to come up with a plan, right? Because I have a large following, and if I just put it out there, the numbers, Oops, sorry, I'm French. I talk with my hands. If I put it out there immediately without any, because there was a lot of emotion involved at this point, and if I put it out there, it might not have come out as civil as I did when 2 weeks went by. So, it allowed me to go through all the emotions because there was a lot. I mean, there was anger, there was, the grief, there was a bunch of things. And so the 2 weeks was good.
Much into it.
Right. We have. And, we were riding high. I mean, there was a little point there that we noticed things were getting quiet. And that was when Sliders closed because they opened the same time we did. And we kind of had a little thing, like we would support them, and on Thursdays they had kids eat free, and then we gave them admission passes to give out to the family. So we kind of worked, sent people there, and it was a nice little relationship, and they were always busy. You drove by Sliders, they were hopping. Then all of a sudden they announced they were closing, and it was like, holy cow, and you'd just seen Bon Vivant close, and you'd seen other things closing, there was a Side by Each, and it was like, it hit me, because we'd had a great summer, and then September came and it got quiet. And that's normal. School's starting back up. Homeschool groups are just reforming. And for me, I mean, I'm doing 200-300 shows all summer long. I'm nonstop. And so to have September, it's like, okay. So I was okay with that. Then October came. And the first October we opened up, we had several things. That we had spent 7 months being closed. Because of code things and this and that and all the hoops we had to jump through. So when we had our grand opening, of course, people were excited. So we had like the first day, 800 people come through the building, and it was just phenomenal. And that October we were new, so people were coming in. Then the shooting took place.
Yeah.
And my wife and I sat there, because everybody was dismayed. Nobody knew what was going on. And we said, there's a lockdown order, but we have to open again. Because for the kids' sake, if anything, we need to have some normalcy. And so we did. They lifted the lockdown at that point also. But we were, whether lockdown or not, we were opening. And, of course, that was a big thing. And that's where we kind of called ourselves the happiest place in Lewiston. And we had this false kind of, like that first October was crazy, so we were kind of like thinking, October, we can do our grand opening again, and, our first year anniversary, and we could have, but it was still quiet. And then November was quiet too, and it was like, Then Sliders closed, and it was like, wow. So I kind of said, I wasn't asking for anything. I was just putting my heart on my sleeve, saying, it's kind of scary. I mean, we're all like one day away from closing our doors, and it's been so quiet, and I'd hate to think about what I have to do, if I had to close. And this community always steps in, and we from that point on, we were like, we've been, balls to the wall, and it's been very, very good. So we were on this high now, coming March 30th, thinking we're going to expand and we're going to grow and do more for the community and wah, 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 Wow. So we got that news, and we waited the 2 weeks, like I said, kind of talked, our board sat down, we figured things out. We said, okay, what's this going to look like? I mean, there was part of me going, I'm done. I just, I'll go, landscaper, or I'll find some, I can do anything. I can, whatever. I'll go cook at Burger King. I don't
You
care.
teach the tortoises how to landscape?
They would do great, right? At least grazing. They might start eating things that, no, leave the petunias alone. They want those. But, I went, like I said, through all those emotions, and then we decided, no, you know what? Because for 2 weeks we were open. We knew what was happening, but we did not say anything to anybody. And everybody was coming in. And everybody was like, "Oh my God, this place is so great! Oh, it's our first time here." We, people coming from all over the state and country, and they're like, "This place is fabulous! Oh my God, we love what you do. Thank you." Blah 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 blah. And we're like, "Yeah, well, thank you for coming." And the whole time we're like, "Oh, what are we doing? I don't know." And so it was, the 2 weeks was kind of a challenge, but that continuous positivity was enough to say, no, we're not done. Now that we've gotten those stupid emotions out of the way, now I'm going to do it out of spite. I'm proving I did it out of spite before, and it got me this far, and I'm going to do it again. And I'm going to prove you all right. I ain't done. So that's where we're at.
Where do things stand now?
We are very fortunate. The day the 2 week mark, I made that post, and I had 5 communities reach out to me saying,
we want you.
Yeah, what we want you, which is also a very wonderful, feeling. And I realize it's a benefit to these communities, because again, 50,000 people is nothing to sneeze at. And we're already looking at our numbers,
right?
And it's like we're already exceeding last year's numbers. So since we started this whole program, we've just been growing. It's so, and there's still a lot of things we haven't even tapped into that we want to do. And so, we would be a plus for any community. And, they all reached out to us and said, we'd love to talk to you and stuff. And we got together with some. Some were logistically not, we appreciated them. We thanked them. But the logistics weren't there. Just, it's like, what's the pros going, and so we kind of looked and said, well, we'll thank them and we'll talk to them. And the talks have been going very well. We have a place. We are looking at, I don't want to say anything till, till the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. But there's a few things that we are looking at. But they seem like, they can be rectified. The owner of this place is like, I'll do it, whatever. If we'll get you. So it's like, okay, that's positive. You're willing to do it. And the community also is like, what do you need? How can we? And they were throwing out ideas at us and things, and it's like, well, we were just asking about what it's like to do business in this town. We weren't asking for anything. We were just like, we're interested in, we're looking at this building, and we just want to know, because if you remember when I was in the mill, then I moved to the mall. There was a lot of things I didn't have to do in the mill that I had to do at the mall. And I'm like, I'm literally a stone's throw away from where I was. Why am I having to go through all this when I didn't have to do it there? And I'm not going to say I know everything about code. So, there's thoughts and theories and things, but it's like, whatever. But there was a lot of things that held us back. And every time we thought, we're ready to open our doors here in Lewiston, we were stopped. And it's like, okay, and it was just little things. And it's like, are you serious? This is why we can't, And so for 7 months, it was like, all right, and I remember getting to the point there, too. It's like, if we can't open, we're never gonna open. And but this is not happening. So we kind of went into this knowing that, okay, we know what questions to ask. We're not going to go into this and go, what do you mean? We
Right.
and they're like, no, you don't have to do that here. And no, we're not that big fancy city stuff there. And so things, it's like, oh, okay. Oh, what? So it's like, I'm not used to this. And it's again, we're not asking for anything other than work with us. That's all.
Right.
Talk to us. Just don't drop a surprise in our lap and say, well, slow down. I know you're excited. Just say, these are what you got to do.
Right.
Put it on the table. We didn't get that the first time around. It was, like I said, it was just as we thought. Okay, we were told you got to do this, and we did it, thinking, okay, we did it. And they're like, oh no, you're not done. Well, can you tell us everything at once?
Right.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Can we just go through a checklist here and say, oh, check? No, you're waiting, like just letting us get excited and then stopping us again, and it was not a good thing. So we're getting very positive. Again, there could be something. I'm optimistic, but I'm also cautiously optimistic that reality is what it is. Things
Right.
pop up that you don't see, and it's like, oh, that could set us back. But right now, things are looking fantastic, and we're hoping this week to have a lot more answers. We got some information last night, which was good, and so yeah.
Awesome. Well, that's great. That's good.
And
news.
it's been it's been amazing community support. I mean, when I say community, the entire state of Maine seems to be my community. And yeah, the support I've been getting, just words of encouragement, sharing that information so it gets out there. Some people it's been donations, some it's when you're ready to move, we'll sign up or do whatever. So, it's like getting, we've got trucks and trailers, we'll haul, and it's like, oh, it's amazing. I often pinch myself because I created this little world that I never planned on doing. It was none of it was planned. It wasn't like this is my goal.
Right.
This is like I'm the type of person I just gotta get through today. And maybe it's because I'm an alcoholic and it's like today's today and just get through today.
Right.
I don't look at the long distance so in that way, and I never planned any of it. And to have that support, it's like an imposter syndrome. It's like I don't deserve this, or why? I question a lot of that at times. I guess it keeps me humble.
When you think about that support, where do you think it comes from? What makes an entire state get behind a man and his family who love to educate us and let us come and play with scorpions and tarantulas and lizards?
It's very difficult to answer that. But in the same sense, it's like, I would say it is, the world is crazy right now. What no matter what, I mean, globally, not just local, state, local government, not federal, but globally, the world is crazy. And I think people just like to grasp something that is not, or maybe is, but in a very positive way.
Right.
We don't talk politics. We don't talk religion. We don't, you leave that all at the door. We're inclusive to everybody, whether you're special needs or you're trans or you're straight or you're Democrat or Republican. We're open. But we're not talking about that.
Right.
This is why we're here. We're here to, edutain you. We're here to give you education. We're here to teach you about these amazing things. And I think that is an epiphany because we're taught that spiders are bad. Burn your house down, or snakes are bad. And then when they see them in a positive and different light, I think people just like that because we're taking a negative thing and making it positive. You don't see that too often in the world. Usually we take it negative and we keep it negative. Right. We're showing that things, you can see things differently, and maybe that's what it is. Subconsciously people going, wow, something that was bad is actually good.
Right.
And we can learn and change. And, there's a combination of things. So I don't know if it's just that or, maybe because I don't do business like other, I don't do this for money. I mean, literally, I am dirt floor poor. We have 20 employees. We have, 400 animals. And people are like, you can charge more. And it's like, I don't want to charge. I want to keep this as affordable. Not everybody can afford more. You know, I'm a consumer. I get it. I'm a parent who has 6 kids. I get it.
Yeah.
You know, and I got to make this reasonable for everybody so that, you know, they come back. My father, God bless him, always told me a half a loaf is better than no loaf. And so that if I can, you know, if I can make it affordable enough that they can come back time and time and time again, not just once, I'm going to do better in the long run. And so, you know, there's a lot of things that we've done that we just think, when we do things, we think about the people. What, you know, what's going to make them happy? Our bathroom's a 5-star bathroom. My wife has all the amenities in there, from spare diapers to baby wipes to, you know, feminine napkins. Everything's in there. And when, you know, people are coming up going, "Oh my God, your bathroom! It has you know." When she said it to me, "Oh no, we're doing this and blah blah blah," and I know she is at home with the bathrooms, and I'm like, "Honey, you know, I mean, come on, you're like a bathroom Nazi here. Come on." Yeah. And she's like, "Nope. This is the way it's going to be, because I know when I go into a place, if something happens and I'm all of a sudden in an odd situation where I forgot something, you know," and I'm like, "Okay, fine, you know, whatever." And like, we literally have had people raving about the bathroom, you know, like, the place is great, but the bathroom, oh my God, you could eat in there. And I'm like, "Oh, okay, honey, that's all you."
Can you talk about some of the growth that Mr. Drew and his Animals Too has experienced since you've been at the mall? I noticed you have a YouTube channel now.
Yeah.
All kinds of stuff going on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that stuff is because, again, growth and support and people joining the team. You know, like my son Silas started the TikTok because, first of all, I don't. You know, I now have TikTok only so I can see what they've posted, and that's it. I don't even, you know, spend any. It's like, what'd you post? Okay, I'll like it and move on. Shut up. I don't even go into the app to look at anything. So, you know, I get people like friending me, and it's like, I don't know. But anyhow, it's on my. And the thing was with me in the past is, you know, I did everything, and I've gotten to the point now where I've gotten better people, and I've learned to let go. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm just going to let you do it. You know what I want. You know what I expect. You know what we do. I'm trusting you. I'm just giving it up. You know, I used to do all my own, you know, veterinary work and stuff on the animals, and now we have a veterinarian who's on our board. He was very excited to be part of our team. First thing I said to him is, "Listen, I'm old school. Everything I did was 30, 40 years ago when these animals were first imported. We didn't have all the things we have nowadays. And I still do things that way. Mm-hmm. That doesn't make it right. And if I'm doing something wrong, I want you to be on. Do not be afraid to say anything to me because, oh, he's Mr. Drew and we don't want. No. Yeah. You can sit there and say, "Listen, you schlep, I'm going to, you know, you're doing this wrong." And, you know, and I said, I want to know. Like with the YouTube, you know, if you do YouTube, you have to commit to it. I mean, it's easy to post something on there, but you got to edit. You got to do this. You got to do that.
A lot of work.
And yeah, it's a lot of work, and I don't have that time. I don't. I mean, I'm traveling 7 days a week. I am just crazy busy in my emails. Every morning I get up and answer email. I mean, I don't have time to sit behind, and I'm not even tech savvy. So we ended up hiring George Catlin from Catlin Creations, and because he had done some free stuff for me, and it was like, he does good work, you know. And so he approached me, and I said, "You know what? We're going to do that. We're going to hire you." And all I got to do is the content,
right?
You know, and he does all the editing and the distributing and it's like, oh wow, this, you know. But now there's somebody doing it that I don't have to. Like I said, we spend a Monday, you know, shooting 3 or 4 because they're short. I mean, there's not, you know, we're just talking, you know, and you know, for YouTube content, that's what you want because they want. Yeah. And so it's been growing, according to him. He says it's growing phenomenally well. I don't know. I'll take his word for it.
I don't YouTube. I don't know.
Yeah, you know, I don't know. I mean, if you say so.
I will now.
You know, it's like, you know, don't forget to subscribe. But I mean, you know, so it's been these little things that you know, again, as we grow, other people are going, "Hey, I really want to be part of this. This is bigger than, this is a big thing," you know. And, you know, our long-term goal is to, you know, I'm going to die someday. that this can still go on. There's no reason why, my center, it might be, whatever happens when I'm gone, I'm gone. I'm not going to come back and tug toes at night. Hey, dude, you're doing things wrong here. But I mean, because it's important for future generations in the sense of, look, if if we're just taught to hate these things, we're going to hurt these things. We're going to kill them. If we're not told I always tell kids that, when people tell things that aren't true, it causes fear. Fear leads to hate. Hate leads to harm. And so that's what everybody does. I hate spiders, so therefore because I'm scared of them and I'm going to kill them. I hate snakes, so I fear them. I'm going to kill them. But what if we change that thinking? And now, well, I don't like them, but I realize they're important. And now I'm going to be more concerned about their environment, their well-being as a whole in the ecosystem. And that's a long-term, effect that can be passed on. We can stop fear and hate in our own little way. Yeah. Maybe I can't stop it on a global thing, but I can say, you know what, let's just start here with this bug. Yeah. Let's start here, and we'll just get bigger maybe as time goes on, because we'll learn to look at things differently and open-mindedly and say, oh, I don't hate you, Mark. I don't like you, but I don't hate you, so I won't hurt you.
If I had a nickel for every time I heard that, I'd be independently wealthy. Drew, when did you open in the mill?
Oh, God. Times lapse. So we were, I want to say 2017.
Okay.
We were there about 5 years.
Yeah.
And then we've been now at the mall for 2. The Mr. Drew itself, the traveling part, we've been 15 years.
Wow.
So,
what are you most proud of in your professional career?
Wow. Just the difference, I mean, I've seen the children, I guess, is where, that I can see the difference. I can see the things I'm doing. When I first started talking about cockroaches, it was feared and hated, and now I get cheers, and they use a cockroach, yeah, cockroaches, so it's like, wow, I kind of like changed that, image, which is, when you really think about it, odd, but and it's like all of a sudden here it is, I'm getting an email or a request for a show, and then of course in there I ask, and how did you hear of me? So what you're, and most of the time it's just word of mouth, or I saw you someplace, and now I'm getting emails that say, well, you did my birthday party. And it's like, oh my God, I'm getting old. And then, of course, they expect me to remember. Do you remember this? It's like, yeah, I do. I do.
Totally remember.
Like that. But I mean, to say that, wow, it's we've succeeded. And many times we should have. Many people would have failed or given up. I mean, we survived the pandemic, and we had no PPPs. We had no funding whatsoever. At the time, we were smaller, and it's like, well, you don't qualify for this or that. You don't have enough employees, and I had the foresight to say, let's start doing retail. We're getting phone calls, people panicking because Petco won't sell them something, bugs, and so we survived on rats and roaches, and and that grew, and so we've just learned to adapt. And so things that would, like I said, be a barrier, we was like, all right, what are we going to do to get around it? Or how do we go through it or under it or over it? We've adapted to changes. And like I said, for that 2 weeks, there was times like, I'm done. Packing up, going to Arizona. I don't know. Moving to Beverly. I don't know. Whatever we're doing, But then I said, no. We, I've adapted and survived worse, and I've got a strong following behind me. I get a lot of people who care, and I can't stop when I hear the kids. And I realize, Mr. Drew, I picked up one piece of trash because I remember you telling me. It's like, yeah, it's like, okay, I can't. I mean, till I physically cannot be Mr. Drew, I have to keep going. And so I guess I'm proud of that stuff, is that I'm just not going to quit on something because I'm having a bad day. Right. Bad days happen, life happens, and life is a series of hellos and goodbyes. And, we just, one, I say goodbye, but I'm going to say hello again. So
I think, too, being in your line of work, you get to see the impact you're having on people's lives instantly.
yeah, I mean, when they walk in the door and there's nothing small, my wife says, "Close your eyes." She'll sit there when we're busy and she'll say, "Just close your eyes and listen." All you hear is happiness. Occasional squeal of excitement or fear, but generally speaking, happiness. You don't hear you just hear kids and adults having a good time and little comments they're making. This is the best day ever. This is the best place ever. So you get to just every so often you just, wow, okay, it's a good feeling. So and we're happy that we've created a safe space that people feel they can just let their kids explore. And, that they can explore. Because, I mean, again, a lot of these parents were kids inside, too. So,
Yeah.
Some more than others.
You also offer adult shows. What are those all about?
yeah. So, it started off with Craft Brew Underground, where we did this R-rated kind of edutainment comedy show where I, would do my show, but I didn't have to hold back on things, and I could say things that were not child friendly, and of course, people are drinking, and so it makes it more fun to, and I don't, so I can really tell. Oh, this is the person in the audience. Yeah, I'm going for this guy, or whatever. Yeah, you want to make that comment? I got you. So it started there, and then of course, with the success in the mall and the parking and the space and everything was just great. We had a lot of parents coming and going, God, I wish we could have a time for just adults because I'm in here and I'd love to hold something, but I don't want to push other kids out of the way, and I don't want to and I got to watch my kids and blah blah blah. And so we said, what if we did one? Yeah. And so we sat down and figured, well, let's get an acoustic musician. So last time, we had Ernie Gagnon doing his stuff, which was wonderful. He sat there and did acoustics. My wife and I cooked up. Well, my wife mainly cooked up. All kinds of stuff. She made wonderful food, and we had a few of our board members make a few things. So we had free food, and we had a cash bar, and we just let adults be kids. And it was really it was just such a casual and fun night. So we're doing it again. I don't have my calendar in front of me. I want to say 17th or something like that. It's a Friday night, 16th or 17th. But we're doing another one, so people can still sign up, buy tickets. This one's going to be a little more of a fundraising event because we're going to have actually signature drinks that everybody will get a free drink if they want. There will be one non-alcoholic one that are specifically named and designed. They're customly designed for that night, like the ones like Frog Pond or I don't know, Hair of Tarantula is one, and but anyhow, there's going to be some custom drinks plus whatever you want. We're going to do a taco bar this time.
Oh, fun.
We got Leah Hersom coming in doing the music. She right away was like, I want to do the next one. Okay, no problem. So, it was a good turnout, the first one. We're going to do also with this one, we're going to do it online, but we're going to have stuff there so a silent auction. We have Apple Watch. We have a carved chainsaw, carved frog, a red-eyed tree frog that somebody did it's like beautiful. I mean, it's, carved out. He did with a chainsaw. It's like, nice. Dude, So we got a bunch of stuff. So we're gonna do an online auction, but we're gonna have the stuff displayed there, but you'll be able to go live for I think another week or after or two, so you'll be able to get the updates following. Oh, I still want that, But we get a bunch of items that people are like, I want to help you, and so it's like, well, what do we? Let's just do it, So it's a fun night, the adult nights, and again, it gives us a chance for the adults to ask questions they might not ask around kids. Because they're curious and kids aren't thinking, you might just be simple. How do they breathe? It also gives adults a chance to get over fears because, alcohol kind of relaxes you a little bit. And so maybe you will hold that tarantula for the first time, even though you said you never would. So, yeah, it's really a fun time with just the adults. It's relaxing and casual, and there's a lot of conversation and laughter. And So
Love it.
Fun.
Is the Maine Reptile Expo happening?
yes, that is still happening. One more thing on my plate, So we'll be at the Colisee August 3rd, Sunday, the first Sunday in August. We've got quite a few vendors already signed up, ready to go and stuff. So we're looking forward to that as well. That's a good turnout of an event. We have fun with that one. It's just kind of a. If you want to buy a reptile, that's the place to do it.
That's the place.
That's the place to do it. And even if you don't want to buy it, it's pretty amazing just to walk around and see what's going on in there. And we set up our kids zone, so we make it family friendly. The Colisee has been wonderful for us. They are very supportive as well. They offer us some great things, and it's just good turnout and plenty of parking, so it's a bonus there.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
I am very encouraged by what you were telling us about the potential for new location.
Yeah, we're excited.
What do you have, 2 months left?
We have till July 31st. We are going to close June 30th.
Okay.
And our board met last night. We were talking, and I said, realistically, if everything goes through, we will be able to get the keys to the new place May 1st or early in May, where we can start doing the build out and clean. So we can stay open and get build out work done so that by June 30th we close, we can get all the stuff done in the new place. That all we need to do is move everything over.
That'd be nice.
And and that's a matter of just setting up and coordinating teams. All right, you're going to handle this section, and we're going to, and boom, 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 get it all over. This is going here. I'll have the floor plan done. And hopefully we can open like early August. It won't be 7 months of missing out,
Right.
especially the area we're looking at has a heavy tourist thing, so we're hoping to catch that. We were like, we can open August 1st, and it's like, well, we got the expo. Let's get that out of the way.
Yeah, sure.
So it's like maybe the following week we can open. Let's just kind of take a little bit of a breather here. We're juggling big things at one time, so. So we're knock on wood, we're hoping that, we can close and boom, back open. Even with the retail, we'll probably be able to open that immediately so that at least people can still purchase feed and insects and things that we sell.
Feed,
It's for their animals. So, so we're excited, and we're hoping it keeps going as smooth as it has been. But again, I'm that cautious optimist. Like, there's gonna be a snag somewhere.
Been in this situation before.
I've been here, So
Fantastic, Drew. Is there anything else that you'd like to tell our listeners that we haven't covered?
no, I mean anything you need to know. I mean, honestly, because algorithms are weird on social media. It doesn't matter what it is, and getting so you might say, I didn't see that post. Well, it's the way algorithms work, And so I always say, just go to our website, because we're updating that live time. As soon as we know something, boom, when we have signups, if you want to help out, it'll be there. If there's certain, everything is going to be on the website. It'll go on to social media, but the website is stable. We have control of that.
Right.
And so if you just take the time to go to that, you're going to find out all the answers you need. If it's a matter of donating, whether it's an item or you want to donate time or you want to donate financially, everything is there. I'm still doing shows. That's the saving grace, because if we close, I've still got staff to pay and stuff like that. So I have a steady income coming in no matter what. So that'll help. But, everything is on the website. That's the best way to get the information or current information.
And that is Mr. Drew and his animals2.com.
Correct.
All right. Locally owned and locally focused, Lydia Media celebrates the heart of the greater Lewiston Auburn area through 2 magazines, Uncle Andy's Digest and LA Metro Magazine, and the new Lydia's Lunch Bunch podcast. Each production shines a positive light on local businesses, nonprofits, events, and individuals making a difference in our community. Keep your advertising dollars local and position your business in front of your target audience with Lydia Media. Learn more at LLC.com. Do you have time for 3 random questions?
I do. Well, weren't all the questions random?
They could have been.
Okay.
All right. Mr. Drew, what is your favorite way to unwind after a busy day?
Eat.
All right.
Eat and hang with my kid. Sometimes we'll do our little cargo van diaries and stuff like that. She's our little miracle, and she's quite a handful at times, but she also reminds me a lot that, sometimes you got to stop and just be silly.
Yeah.
If you could teleport anywhere in the world right now, where would you go?
Wow. Where would I teleport? I'd probably just teleport home. Because everything is there. There's nothing in the world. I mean, there's a lot of things I'd like to see, but I'm also a homebody.
Yeah.
As much as I seem extroverted and stuff like that, I'm really an introvert. I mean, I loved quiet times at home. I would love to be doing more gardening. I would love to do more at-home things. So I really, I have no desire. I've never been that person. Let's go to Disney. There's too many people at Disney. No.
I figured it'd be like a rainforest.
Yeah, I mean,
something.
Costa Rica, Costa Rica. I mean, there's some places I'd love to, like I said, there's a lot of places I'd love to see, but I don't have a real desire. I mean, if it happens, it happens, but it's not like this is a life goal.
Yeah, that's okay. There's no wrong answers.
Yeah, no,
Right.
I know, but I'm
Random
just,
questions.
I'm just like pondering it. I mean, there's really no desire to go someplace. Like I said, the world is around me. And I don't mean that the world revolves around me. I just mean that I can appreciate. Like right now, what I call the greening is taking place. I get excited because buds are on the trees and birds are singing, and to me, it's like, oh, I don't have to go somewhere to see that. It's here. I appreciate it here. So I just find everything around me is always something exciting, and why do I need to go somewhere else?
Right.
I mean, there's a world right around me, and I'm happy with it.
You've created your own amusement park. Right?
Yeah. I live in my bubble, and I like my bubble.
Yeah. I know why you don't want to go to Disney. The mice aren't even real.
Mickey Mouse is a 6 foot tall effing rat. I mean, what does a child go? Ah! But anyhow.
You ready for my question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is anyone ever ready for any of your questions?
No, this is easy.
Oh, okay.
I want to know if in your life there's ever been an animal or insect or something that you looked at that just really creeped you out.
No, not really. Because I look at everything analytically in that aspect, so I can, I'm curious about them. I learn about them. I understand them. Now there's some that I'm more guarded on, like some of the Southeast Asian millipedes. It's not that they creep me out or anything, but I know their venom will make you want to cut your arm off. So it's a respect. But there's nothing. I mean, the IRS scares me more than any animal. So I'm always curious about a living thing rather than fearing it, and so there's nothing that creeps me out. I haven't found, I suppose brain-eating amoebas and things like that would be kind of creepy.
Earwigs creep me out.
Earwigs, no, see, I like earwigs because they've been around millions of years. I mean, they're so cool when you really put it in that perspective and look at it. It's like these things have been before dinosaurs. How cool is that? So yeah, they don't bother me. I mean, maybe Kennedy's brainworm might freak me out a little bit, but
Is that because of the worm or because of him?
yes, yeah. Well, I wouldn't want the worm. Well, I wouldn't want him either. But is it me? I mean, I'm sorry. With the Kennedys, I just all the Kennedys have that Boston accent. And that's a Kennedy. That's defined. That's not what, it's just that he does not have that at all. And it's like, I'm sorry, you're not a Kennedy. Kennedys do not talk that way. You sound like Bobcat Goldthwait on Valium. I don't know what I want to do. And I am, so, but anyhow. What was the question again?
Yeah, no, you got it.
I don't think there was a question.
Yeah.
I want to ask something real quick. Your professional opinion. I was at a home show in Augusta this weekend, and there was a booth. They were selling sugar gliders.
The animal?
Yes.
Alive?
Well,
Yes.
first of all, what's that going to do with a home show?
I know. I was very surprised.
You need a pet in your home.
They also had a skincare booth, so it was really weird. But anyway,
Where does
besides
sugar,
the point.
Where does sugar gliders usually reside?
Well, Australia, they are common pets, but they're terrible pets. One of the things that I tell every show I do, I stop for one moment to talk to the parents because I've realized the importance of that. And one of the things I say is, you have a child who is here, and at some point in life, they're going to say, Mom and Dad, can we get a fill in the blank?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what it is. And I often apologize if it's right after my show. I'm sorry. It wasn't intended that way. But and I say, listen, I'm a free resource. Reach out to me.
Yeah.
Email me. Every morning I get up, I answer my emails. First thing I do, I have nothing in my spam folder because I check my emails. And I will tell you everything good, bad, and ugly about an animal. I will be honest with you. I will tell you, I'll ask you about your family dynamics. I might say that animal's not a good choice, but I would recommend this. I will find you a local breeder. I will get you the closest veterinarian that works with that animal. But I'm going to be honest with you. And sugar gliders are terrible pets. They're cute. That's what they got going for them, and that's what people get them for. And then people realize, oh my goodness, there's so much. First of all, they're nocturnal.
Oh.
So they sleep all day. And they're a social animal, so you should keep 2, 3, 4 of them. They live in little colonies, and people buy one. And to keep one socialized for your own personal, you need to work with it 8 hours a day. Nobody does that.
Nope.
And so they're and they pee on everything. I mean, there's a lot of disadvantages of them. But, again, on social media, we see this 20-second video and go, oh my God, this is so cute. I want
so
one.
cute.
And they're adorable little animals. They are. But that does, and they're good for some people. But the majority of the people are not. It's a very common animal. We get people go, I got one now, we're not, and then, can you take? So I have to direct them.
Right.
Hedgehogs are the other one that everybody loves hedgehogs, but then they realize, oh no pun intended, but these are little pricks, or whatever. So
What about capybaras?
capybara, I mean, I would honestly, if I had to have capybaras are pretty amazing animals. I mean,
Right?
I mean, I don't think they should be made available because everybody
on.
would want one, and then there'd be an overflow of capybaras that people don't realize. But talk about an animal that just doesn't care about any other animal. It's like whatever. It's
They
like,
are
dude,
just so calm.
you're a caiman. You could probably bite my leg, but I don't care. I'm going to sit on you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like,
Right?
yeah,
They're so chill.
Yeah, it's like whatever. It's like, yeah, Valiant poster child of the animal
I
world.
want to live my life like a capybara.
I mean, it's an oversized guinea pig. I mean, it's really
So
what it
cute,
is.
though. So cute.
Right.
Tastes like chicken, I suppose.
Aw.
I think we'll end on that. Drew, thanks so much for your time today.
Thank you for having me.
And best of luck to you and your family and your staff
Thank you.
On your new location. And we wish you all the best.
Thank you very much.
He is Mr. Drew of Mr. Drew and His Animals 2. And if you'd like more information, as he said, you can go to the Facebook, but you might not get all of it. If you want all the info, check out the website, MrDrewandHisAnimals2.com. Thanks to our sponsors for today, Ruper's Beverage and Redemption and United Piping. And if you'd like to be part of the Lydia's Lunch Bunch advertising family, reach out to Pam via email at pam@lydiamediallc.com.
Have a great day. And remember, don't bite your cat.